Hey everyone, this is Oshra Warner. Welcome back to the channel. Today I just want to talk to you guys about, right now the collecting community is really getting some of the best releases we've really ever seen. And I wanted to kind of focus on today on the 6 scale versions. So right now, as you guys know, just if you watch my channel, I've only been collecting Hot Toys, truly been collecting Hot Toys since December of 2024, so a little over a year. And so what I wanted to kind of talk to you guys about is this a good opportunity or good time to jump into 6 scale collecting? Or if you're already 6 scale collecting, is this the best collecting time we've ever had? So, me speaking from a new collector, it's kind of hard to say if this is the best collecting time ever. But what I can say from watching a lot of the other big YouTubers that collect is, a lot of them are, getting rid of their older figures, from, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago and replacing them with the newer versions because you got 2.0s coming out for a lot of the different ones. Even with some you've got 3.0s, and so because of that, you have an opportunity to really get something updated where you've got better materials, where maybe the figure before had pleather. I think about like the new Winter Soldier is coming out that I have on pre-order. That one, the original one had leather. It was all, I had pleather, I'm sorry. It was all coming apart. And now you have, the new one has leather. I think about this Vader, the dual in effect Vader. This is the first Vader that was released with the nylon suit. And all the other ones have pleather. Justin was talking about his Vader from the New Hope Tarkin 2-pack, how it had pleather all over it and was shredding. Well, now all the Vaders are coming with nylon suits. So you're able to get a Vader that's more sustainable. So that takes you into, okay, so are you happy with the figure you have, or should you go and replace it? Well, for me, coming from a new collector, the great thing about being new to this is I didn't have any 6 scale Hot Toys figures. So since I didn't have any, I had to start from scratch. Well, the great thing is with a lot of seasoned collectors selling off their collection, to try to upgrade or in anticipation of upgrading, you're able to get a lot of great deals, online. And so if you're looking at, some of the BST groups, and that's the buy, sell, trade groups, or whether you're looking at it on eBay, there's some really, really good deals out there if you're willing to buy something that is, not the current model. And if you think about these Hot Toys, the one thing that when people were collecting a few years ago, they were, 250, 260, 270. Now most of them are over $300. It's very rare that you get a Hot Toy that is a new release is under $300. So, for a new collector who's looking to get into Hot Toys, this is definitely a great time because you can probably get something pretty inexpensive. And I tell people a lot about this one here. This is the first one I ever bought. This was in, it's like mid 2024, I think. I got this Captain America Winter Soldier, and just because I thought it was cool and I was looking around in different versions of Captain America when I was collecting 12 scale, and I found them for like $225 shipped, which is pretty crazy, and this is my favorite version of Sam. It looks really good. Definitely the best suit, better than the blue suit that he had in the movie. I mean, both of them were pretty bad, media, but the suit was pretty dope. And I like it really how it gives a distinguished look from, my favorite version of Cap, which is Chris Evans Cap, So, yeah. And so, that's what you can run into a lot of times is finding a pretty good deal on some of these figures on sites like that. But then part of it too is, you're same thing with the sideboard. Got the sideboard off eBay pretty inexpensively. Now he's actually more expensive now because side verses kind of have a little bit of a comeback, and these are not a lot available online. I think I got mine for, it might have been right at $200, and now you can't even find one that's like really under $300, for the most part. I tell people about my Ahsoka. I got her free when I bought Iron Man and 2012 cap, but of course there's 2012 cap there. And if you notice, my vendor shelf is a little thin. I sold off my Mark 85, my Endgame Black Widow, and my Infinity War Thor, because I was able to get allocation for the Age of Ultron Thor, which is my favorite look for him, which kind of changed how I wanted that to look. And that's another piece too, is in addition to a lot of the 2.0s coming out, so I was getting an opportunity to get, if you're a new collector, you're getting the newest, latest, best version right now. So there was no, hey, I jumped into this and I got a figure and then 4 years later they replaced it with something better. You're getting the best of the best now. The only exception I would say with me would be the Artisan Darth Vader Sith Apprentice. He still has leather tabards. So there's still time for Hot Toys to come out in a couple of years with a new one that's got all leather. Maybe that's 3 years down the road, 5 years down the road, who knows. But for the most part, the technology is the best it's ever been, and across for Hot Toys. You've got the IPs are really kind of in repeat mode. So if you're one of the people who jumped into collecting and you're like, oh man, I really wanted to get a Stormtrooper, and now they don't sell them anymore, you only get them on eBay. Well, all that stuff's being redone because of a lot of the anniversaries for the movies coming out and things of that nature. So you've got a big opportunity to pick up something without having to buy it secondhand or buy it super expensive on a secondary market. The other thing too is, again, being able to buy something used to get a little bit better deal. And one of the big things too is, even though Hot Toy prices are going up, it's not super, super high compared to 6 scale. So as you guys know, I have a few 6 scale figures over here, and I'll just kind of give an example. This Mayfix Wonder Woman was basically, I don't know, like $129, and that was pretty high. But she's, she comes with the wings and a whole 2 sets of wings. This SA Figure Arts Wonder Woman was, I think, like $80. These Marvel Legends are, not expensive at all. But when you start looking at now, their Mayfixes, I think their starting price now is $150 or $129. If you're buying it from Big Bad, if you get it from Ami, you're also paying tariffs, so they can be, and that gets a little expensive, because that's what you used to buy all mine from anyway before. So now you got the situation where do I want to pay $130 for a 6-inch figure, or do I want to spend maybe $300 or say $270 on a 6 scale? And it's just definitely, for me, price wise, and which is why switching to 6 scale, I'd rather have the best version I can possibly get and have fewer versions than have one of everything. So, and that's me. I just rather the quality over quantity. And so just kind of circling back, that gives you another opportunity to look at everything that we have out here. From newer technologies, properties having a lot of anniversaries and things like that, re-releases of figures. Right now, you just got an opportunity to really just to grab whichever you want to grab and jump in pretty easy. And then the other thing too is, come to the side of the room because this is kind of funny. My favorite person in all of collecting is Boba Fett. If I had to get rid of everything in my collection except for one particular character, it would be Boba Fett. I'd keep him all, and particularly my favorite version of Boba Fett, look-wise, is his Daimyo look. Love the Daimyo look. Absolutely perfect. I've got so many different That's a 6 scale version here. Got a quarter scale version here. And then over here on my shelf, where I've got my half Boba, half Ultra Magnus, you can see I've got the Cos Baby, Black Vintage Collection, Hasbro, and then Bandai Movie Realization. But my point is, coming over here was the other thing you can do is some of the properties that didn't sell well go pretty cheap. So this quarter scale, they came in 2 different versions. This is the deluxe version with the diorama base. I want to say this one went for $650 when it first released. I bought it like for $400. And like I said, remember, I've only been collecting since December 2024. So all the stuff that I've gotten is in less than a year. This Boba Fett 2-pack, which, like I said, this is front and center in my office, so it's not like I've got him on the shelf in the corner somewhere. I mean, I guess I knew he's in the corner, but this is in a pretty prominent place on my display. So if I kind of back up and show you guys my office, that's my desk here. And then this is what I call Boba's Corner, which got some of my Boba comic books, and I think I've showed that in the collection tour, but I'm gonna do a note because I'm changing some books out and things like that. But the one thing with these is these figures were kind of like I think it was the same time they were doing a if you spend a certain amount of money, Sideshow was giving you these guys for free, the 2-pack, which was the Tython Boba, which everybody has a different name from. That's what Black Series called him because he got his armor back on Tython. And then this is the Tusken Raider Boba from Tython as well. Well, they were for free if you spend a certain amount of money. Well, a lot of people were taking this and selling on eBay for like $200. Well, this pack brand new was $500, or I think it was $550. No, it was more than that. It was like almost $600. And because it's a property that didn't do well and was not super popular with everybody, a lot of people like Boba Fett, but people didn't like how Boba Fett was treated by Disney in this particular case. By the way, this is the Cobb Vent base that I've got my Daimyo Boba Fett sitting on my desk. But because of that, I got my favorite character, 2 of them, for $200. Well, man, that's 2 Hot Toys. That's cheaper than buying an SH figure. So if I had to buy I had the SH figure art version of those. So, or maybe it was the Mayfix version. Because I don't think they had a Tusken Boba yet in the 6 and 12 scale. But again, because quarter scale not popular, got him for about 40% off, and then for them, I got them for less than half price. So again, it's a good time to collect because you have a lot of these properties that may be something that you really like that nobody else likes, and the one thing you got to collect what you like, and that's Jetta's slogan. I'm trying to steal it, but I'm just saying. But this is what it boils down to. If you like something, then you should go after it. Be a perfect example. I don't see too many collections I have just Captain America. This is the concept art from Endgame. I absolutely love this cap. And proportions wise, I can't wait to size him up next to the stealth suit when he comes in. But it's the same body, but because of the way the suit is a little thicker rubber, or kind of rubbery suit up top, he just has way better proportion, man. His traps look freaking great, man. Like he looks pretty buff. And so I was able to get this one pretty cheap. You know why? Because nobody wanted them. Same thing here for like the Ronin version of Hawkeye. This is the deluxe that came with the both looks, the Ronin look and the Hawkeye look. Well, I got this one for under $200. Why? Because nobody wanted them. Because not that Endgame wasn't popular, but from what I understand, because I'm new to Hot Toys, but during this run, Hot Toys is just making abundance of these figures, so they went pretty cheap. So people just kind of sitting on them and trying to had a hard time selling them all because they just made so many. Well, I love this guy. I love it. I mean, this is my favorite look for Hawkeye, so that's why he actually stayed as opposed to the other ones. I just changed his pose a little bit. 2012 Cap, same thing here. I'm gonna get every version of Cap, so it's kind of like Boba Fett. That's just kind of how it works. But got him there. Of course, in-game cap, everybody knows about him, his story. But, and then, for properties that maybe aren't super popular, but nobody's really doing re-releases on, you've got the like InArt, with the BVS stuff. You got the Terminator stuff coming out from those guys. So there's a lot of really cool old properties coming out, and also for new properties. Like, for me, for Arcane, I've got Jinx and Vi coming in. Well, the good thing with those are they're available right now to still buy. Well, I guess they're not waitlisted, but you can pick up a lot of those stuff pretty inexpensive if you wanted to. Going through like Hawkwood Toys or Comic Concepts, any of those guys, because they're still relatively new and they're not jacked up on secondary market. So, you got the K-pop Demon Hunters coming out, things like that. I'll come out here too. This Bowbone Throne, super cheap. Those Chrome Codes were so funny. When I first remember seeing them, I was like, oh, those are kind of neat. I'll get one. They were $300. I think they were limited edition or special edition or something like that, exclusive. That's what it was. Well, I ended up buying them for $150 each because nobody wanted them, So my collection is so funny. It consists of a lot of stuff that are properties that the property is cool, but specific characters and the way I have them done, nobody really wants. I think probably the only shelf I have that's probably retail is this one down here, which is the Kinder Boba, which they call vintage, the arena suit, and then the deluxe Empire Strikes Back. Those are all I paid retail for because they're all super popular, and they hold their value because it's OG Boba Fett. But like this shelf here, probably the Mandalorian, the Death Watch Mandalorian, pretty cheap. Those guys go for like $125, but I think they were free too at some point on Sideshow because you see a lot of them for the same price online. The concept art mall, this is actually probably one of the most expensive kit batches I ever did because this is the Japanese exclusive version. So the sleeve is different from the one you can buy from Sideshow just because I wanted that. And then I bought the Phantom Menace mall and put his head. So this is actually not the head from the one, because remember the one from the concept art had like wire around it and feathers, and I really wanted this look for him. And then the Mall DeLoreans are regular price. They're not on sale yet because they're relatively new and pretty popular still. And then of course Savage just came out, so Savage is still available. So again, but the quality of this guy here is, Hot Toys was in their bag on this guy here. They did not miss a beat. Other than, like I said, I think the robot hands are a little too small for like the fist, and the spread out hand I think was kind of too big. But again, that's negligible, and I think the fact that the tabards is not, this part right here is not wired, where this part here is wired, the whole skirt area is wired. That's my only two complaints on him. But again, this is something you can still get, so you're not having to pay crazy prices. So, and for me, all the places that I'm missing characters for, so I'm waiting on the Hulk, preferably an Avengers or Age of Ultron, and if they continue that run, we might get a second release of that. 2.0. I'm looking for a better version of Black Widow, preferably original Avengers or Age of Ultron. Those looks. Over here for my Zack Snyder shelf, I'm looking for all of those characters from that particular movie. So, and I can wait because I know now that they're really kind of going back to the well, a lot of these figures, you have an opportunity to get what you want, and you don't have to go back and collect in reverse or recollect, where you're getting stuff that's been out for a long time. Because the problem with that is you get it and you like it, and then as soon as the new one comes out, you realize, okay, man, I made a mistake. So I do follow some of the advice a lot of the new YouTubers that have been doing around for a while. It's like, if you buy something that's old, it's got to be something that you just can't get anymore. But if it's something you could that's a popular property, then you you might want to go after. Like, I'll give you an example, Jack Nicholson, Joker. That's something you probably have to buy secondary because it doesn't look like he's going to be giving his likeness rights to anybody anytime soon. But if it's something like, if you're looking for like, you're a big fan of me, I'm a big fan of both of it like I am, then you can just pick up some of these. And I think this one is the one when I paid retail for it, closer retail, because, that Daimyo is still relatively expensive on the market. It's crazy. I paid for it a little bit more for him than I did, a little bit more for the quarter scale than I did for the 6 scale, with way more stuff. So, but anyway, yeah, I just wanted to kind of talk to you guys about that. Like I said, I think this is really a great time to transition. So any of you guys who are looking to move from 12 scale to 6 scale, this is a really good time to make that move, just because pricing is pretty good, availability is good, and then depending on what you want to pick up, there's a lot of great pricing out there, a lot of great figures coming out, and a lot of stuff is sitting on Sideshow's website for a while, so you're not having to rush through it. So yeah, just kind of wanted to just talk to you guys about that, and let me know what you think. Are you guys all Hot Toys collectors? How long have you been a Hot Toy collector? Definitely let me know in the comments below. How did you get into Hot Toys? If you are you looking to make that move? If you have any questions about it, like from somebody who's done it, relatively recently. And like I said, Hot Toys at InArt 6 scale in general. And just put your questions in the comments down below, and appreciate it. Thanks a lot, guys. Later.